All right, so this morning we're looking at Microsoft, right? This is the trade, ended up failing. This is where we got in. Around here, we got this break of structure, and then we got out for like 10, 15%, and boom, that was the trade. Obviously, it didn't go our way, but this is why it's important to scale out so you can secure that green. The moment you get greedy is the second that you're going to lose. Never, ever, ever go without scaling contracts. I don't care if it's $5, $10. Scale those contracts or you're going to lose. I'd much rather make $5, $10 than lose money. You know what I mean? But we were on 5-minute demand. Here we had a rally-based rally. As we're approaching demand, I was expecting a retracement back up to this fair value gap. So we had a break of structure, and then obviously sellers were in control. I know I say don't short this market, but it's super important to know when sellers are in control, right? So when sellers are in control, I'm not really looking to take calls unless we have, demand or something below, right? So we had demand. I got in near demand, not fully near demand. I think it was like this candle here, somewhere there. And I was down maybe 20% for about 20 minutes before I finally got that 15% play. Wasn't a good play. We still managed to get green. But overall, wasn't a good trade just because, sellers were in control. Had we approached this fair value gap, it would have been better. But now we're scratching Microsoft and we're getting away from that. That was the trade that we took on Microsoft, why I took calls. Nothing crazy, but not something I'd take again. Whenever sellers are in control, it's good to know. SPY, on the other hand, I gave you guys a game plan from the very beginning. This morning, we created a displacement. I think I even said it on live. I sent the charts a couple times in the premium. But, price was weak going up to the outside. It failed, and then overall, it just ended up dumping. Whenever you see a move like that, don't think that you missed the move. I don't you have to stop having this mindset of like, shit, I'm missing the move. I'm missing out on gains, because that's all momentarily. You have to wait for the for sure move. And this is how you're going to find that, right? So first of all, we're pumping up a little bit. We had little lows. If I go into smaller time frames, like the 3-minute, you can see it a little more clear. So we had lows here, there, that we're kind of bouncing above. This is the main low we're looking at, right? So once we broke this, that's how we're just, going from a small uptrend into a downtrend. On the 5-minute, we ended up creating a displacement. So you can see that here. Created a displacement. That's a fair value gap. That's when, in simple terms, this candle doesn't touch this candle. And that's because sellers are heavy there. There's no room for upside. It's just instant rejection and it continues lower, right? So when you have a fair value gap like that, you can mark that. Break a structure in a fair value gap with volume. Keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of fair value gaps all over the place. There's a fair value gap here. There's a fair value gap to the upside here, right? But you have to have volume. In this case, we had a lot of volume. Look how much it came down. Like, it just ended up shitting, right? So we had a fair value gap, and all you got to do is wait on this retracement. It's almost like supply and demand. It's very, very similar. But you have to notice it intraday. So the way you'd play this is you just add your risk to reward, stop out above the zone. In this case, we never got a candle close above. It came up, ended up just shitting straight down, and then you target previous lows. This would be your TP1. Boom. Like so. And then obviously you guys know we had 30-minute demand down here as well. So this could be your TP2. Boom. Super simple, right? So there's nothing crazy. It's nothing super wild. Stuff that we see on a daily basis when we have volume, right? So when you're unsure of what direction the market's going to go in, wait for supply or demand, or wait for price to tell you what it wants to do. In this case, it just ended up shitting, just falling for like a good 30 minutes, and then maybe an hour, and then you can see weak upside movement. You see a bunch of red candles here, and then you see price moving up and then retracing, moving up a little higher and then retracing, and then finally just a fair value gap, and then continues to go lower. These contracts went from 20 cents to I think like $1.40. Someone said in the chat, and so this would have been a crazy ass play. Obviously, we wouldn't have been all the way or have held all the way through. I most definitely would have not. I probably would have held mile runners to TP1 alone, and that right there in itself is enough for you to make a fucking bag. You know what I mean? So that's the trade there.